Here's one thing people have noticed about beautiful or urban centers like my own beloved Boston, which you'll see behind me. People don't tend to go to church in places like Boston or places like New York or many of the cities that you might be familiar with. And they wonder, why is that? You talk to a lot of people around cities like this, and what they'll tell you is that they've had bad experiences with religion. And so that's led a lot of people to think, what do we mean when we talk about religion? And that's led people to wonder if an image we get from math, strangely enough, helps us. And it's really helped me, and maybe it'll help you. So imagine two sorts of sets. One might be best pictured as a circle. We call it a bounded set. The other one you might best picture as a dot. In circles, you're either inside of it or you're outside of it. So I'm a man. If you're a woman, you're outside of my circle. Tough luck, nothing you can do about that. I'm a Bostonian. That's a much more limited circle. I'm tall. I'm more than 6 feet tall. Obviously, as we keep going with circles, our circles only include us. Centered set, there's a dot in the middle, which is anything that you're centering your set around, and then every other dot represents all the other people on Earth. And the issue there is movement. Are the other dots moving towards the center dot or away from it? So imagine that these two sorts of sets represent ways to think about religion. In a bounded set, you're either inside of it or you're outside of it. Bounded sets are challenging for many people who are outside of the sets because they don't particularly want to jump into the bounded set because it feels cultural. So if I was like a Bengali Muslim and you were an Illinois Baptist and you said, hey, jump into my Illinois Baptist waters, it tastes great in here, you're gonna love it, I might feel like, wow, that involves a pretty big step. It's not just whatever you might think about God or about Jesus. It actually involves being an Illinois person and being a Baptist and maybe how I would vote and maybe how I would dress and maybe my opinions about a ton of things all would be involved in making that step. On the other hand, think about it from the dot perspective. So let's say for our purposes, the center dot would be Jesus. The only issue then in this set is whether or not all the other dots on Earth are moving towards Jesus or away. Maybe they're going this direction or this direction as opposed to going right towards that center dot. What you're trying to do there is, if you believe that Jesus, the center of the set, is important, you're trying to help people turn their arrows wherever they are, whether they're close to the middle or way, way off towards that set. Let's say I'm 4 feet from the center of the set, who is Jesus. And let's say someone else is way over there back in the background, way across the river, but they have just turned their arrow towards the center, and I'm veering just a little bit. The theory would be, in this sense, they're better off than me. That granted, I have benefits for being so close, and the second I turn back, there's gonna be lots of great things. But the issue is just which way are you turning? I think the practical impact of this for us has been pretty significant. In other words, that we don't spend a whole lot of time trying to help people change their opinions about lots of things. What we're trying to help people do is have an experience, an encounter with the center, in our case Jesus, that's meaningful enough that they would feel like, that's great, I want more of that. Rather than giving people points of theology or opinion that we want them to think about, we try to encourage people to do things, to try something, and see if they get enough feedback from God or from Jesus that would keep validating that choice to keep going forward. We've actually thought a lot more about this stuff here, this bounded and centered set stuff, to the point that I've actually written a whole book about it and kind of related issues called Not the Religious Type, Confessions of a Turncoat Atheist. So I hope you'll check that out. I also have a blog at notreligious.org where a whole bunch of folks from all around the country and some overseas are coming together every day to talk through what a bounded and centered set approach to life might look like in a ton of different circumstances, in politics, in day-to-day life, and in a variety of other things. So I hope you'll check that out as well. But certainly one way or another, here's to a great next step in your journey of life, of faith, of truth, of your journey.